I had never considered myself a hero, or even someone who could survive a day in an alien palace. My skill set was practical, human engineering, basic robotics, and the occasional improvisation on Earth's overcomplicated machinery. That was enough, until the Virellian Empire decided my services were necessary. The Queen of Virellia, Her Majesty Verith, was exacting in every way. Tall, regal, with silver-toned skin that shimmered faintly under palace lights, she carried an aura of authority so absolute that even her guards seemed almost hesitant to breathe in her presence. I had been assigned to her royal residence to maintain, repair, and upgrade the infrastructure that humans and Virellians had built together: bridges, energy conduits, and occasionally, furniture. Yes, furniture. It started with the bed. Not any bed, mind you, but the Queen's personal resting platform, a levitating mattress held aloft by magnetic fields that needed precise calibration. The previous week, one of the levitation modules had begun stuttering, causing the mattress to dip unpredictably. She had complained, softly at first, but when I arrived, the problem was undeniable. The bed had developed a jitter so severe that it could wake the entire palace at odd intervals. I arrived early, expecting a routine repair. I had no idea how personal this task would become. The chamber was vast, circular, and adorned with polished metal and organic-looking structures that curved like living trees. Crystalline light panels floated in the air, casting soft glows that shifted color with the Queen's mood, something I would later learn was intentional. I set down my toolkit and approached the levitating platform. The hum of magnetic repulsors filled the room, a gentle but insistent vibration that traveled through the floor. I knelt and began my assessment. Human, a voice said, smooth and commanding. I froze, wrench in hand. Queen Verith stood at the edge of the room, her eyes like twin amethysts reflecting the shifting light. I trust you understand the importance of discretion and care? She asked. Yes, Your Majesty, I stammered. I won't damage the system. She nodded, her gaze sweeping over the mattress. Then begin. I focused, adjusting the magnetic stabilizers, aligning the levitation coils, and recalibrating the energy flow. It was tedious work, requiring precision down to the millimeter and microsecond. Hours passed, punctuated only by her occasional observation, her eyes silently tracking my every movement. And then she spoke again. You handle this machinery with more care than most of my engineers, she said. Why? I looked up, wiping sweat from my brow. Because I respect it. And because it matters. Even small things make a difference. Her lips curved faintly. Indeed. That is admirable. I continued working, unaware of how close I had become to the bed. When I leaned over to tighten a coil, I felt a sudden presence behind me. My heart skipped. Step aside, she said softly. I did. And that's when she did something I never expected. Her hands were light, but firm as they adjusted a stabilizer. I stepped back, letting her work. And then her gaze met mine. Those eyes, so alien, yet so intensely aware, held me in place. Without warning, she leaned forward and kissed me. It wasn't slow or drawn out. It was brief, electric, and utterly shocking. My mind went blank. Wrenches fell from my hands. Sparks from the magnetic coils danced around us like tiny fireflies. I stared at her, utterly stunned. She pulled back slightly, still close enough that her breath mingled with mine. There, she said, voice almost playful. The bed is fixed. I blinked. I thank you? For what? For that. Her eyes shimmered. I do not apologize for necessary actions. The days that followed were unusual. Queen Verith did not scold me. She did not distance herself. but her presence lingered, subtle and almost magnetic. In the palace, whispers spread among the human engineers and Virellian attendants. The human and the queen, something is different. I tried to ignore it, focusing on my duties. But every time I entered her chambers, there was a tension in the air that was hard to define. She did not speak of the kiss again. Neither did I. But I could feel it, a constant undercurrent in our interactions. Then came the challenge. A technical failure occurred in the palace's energy core, a massive, dangerous problem that could destabilize the entire sector. Queen Verith personally summoned me to assess the situation. "You must be precise," she said, voice calm but serious. "There is no margin for error." "I understand, Your Majesty," I replied, trying to steady my shaking hands. I worked alongside her, adjusting energy conduits, rerouting power, and repairing delicate systems that hummed like living organisms. Hours passed. Sweat and strain left marks on my uniform. And yet, she never left my side. Not for a moment. "Your species is persistent," she said quietly as we crouched over a failing core module. "Why do you not quit?" "Because I survive," I said simply. "And because I care about what I touch." Her gaze softened. "Curiosity and determination, they suit you." At that moment, a surge passed through the energy conduit. Sparks flew. I froze. The core was moments from critical failure. Without thinking, I lunged forward, redirecting the energy with a combination of human intuition and improvisation. The core stabilized. The hum normalized. The room was silent. She looked at me, her expression unreadable. Then she smiled. "Perhaps," she said softly, "you are more than a simple human engineer." I swallowed, heart racing. "More than what, Your Majesty?" Her violet eyes lingered on mine. "I believe you are audacious enough to survive me." The next night, she summoned me to her private chambers. I entered cautiously, unsure if I was being called to praise, reprimand, or something entirely unexpected. She sat on her restored, levitating bed, legs crossed, posture regal. "You fixed it," she said, almost conversationally. "And yet I cannot stop thinking of the way you handled yourself today. The core, the improvisation, your courage." "Thank you," I said, unsure how to respond to praise from a queen I could barely comprehend. "No," she said, voice firm. I am impressed in a way that is rare." Before I could respond, she moved closer, her hand brushing mine. The energy between us was palpable, a strange fusion of Virellian bioluminescence and human emotion. "I must warn you," she said softly, "that our worlds are not meant to mingle lightly." "Then we will mingle carefully," I replied, a grin escaping despite my nerves. Her lips curved faintly. "You are bold, foolish, curious, human. And you are terrifyingly beautiful," I said. She laughed softly, a sound that resonated through the chamber like chimes. Then she did something I had not anticipated. She kissed me again, longer this time. Warm, deliberate, undeniable. I felt the shock, the electricity, the impossibility of it all. And yet it felt natural. I had survived her world. And now, I was living it. Weeks passed and our bond grew. I learned her routines, her humor, the subtle ways she communicated without words. She allowed me to assist her in more than repairs. Sometimes, she invited me to study alien technologies that humans weren't meant to understand. We shared meals made of unfamiliar ingredients, watched the stars through the palace dome, and exchanged ideas about Earth, Virellia, and the cosmos beyond. It was exhilarating. One evening, she turned to me as we watched a nebula simulation in her chamber. "Do you realize," she said softly, that you are the first human I have ever truly trusted? I swallowed, unsure what to say. I'm honored and terrified. Her hand brushed mine. Trust is dangerous, but necessary. Perhaps that is why I kissed you. I laughed softly. I thought you did it because I fixed your bed. She tilted her head. That too, she said, smiling. But it would not have mattered if you were not worthy of attention. Months later, I was no longer just the engineer in the palace. I had become her confidant, her partner in curiosity, and her companion in solitude. Together, we explored alien science, human ingenuity, and the delicate dance of two worlds learning to coexist. One night, as the city below shimmered with Virellian lights, she turned to me. Do you realize, she said softly, that you have changed my perception of humans entirely? And you've changed my perception of aliens, I replied. Her lips curved. Perhaps we have changed each other then. I think so, I said. She leaned forward, and we kissed again, gently this time, aware of everything and nothing at once. Outside the palace, the stars stretched endlessly across the sky, a reminder that the universe was vast, unpredictable, and sometimes audacious. I had repaired her bed. I had survived her scrutiny. And I had lived through a kiss that defied all reason. But more importantly, I had entered her world and found a place where human courage, curiosity, and audacity were enough to bridge the gap between two species. In that moment, nothing else mattered. I had survived the impossible, and I had found connection. And as long as I stayed by her side, I would continue to survive, thrive, and perhaps one day truly understand what it meant to be worthy of a queen.